We are now 24 days away from the release of EA Sports College Football 25. It's that time. We got to figure out what team are we going to run with for our first Dynasty on the channel. What are some teams we're potentially going to use in the future? And what are some teams we're not going to use? We've got a tool here to help us make that list, what we're going to do with the future. So let's get into it. If you guys are new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and throw a like on the video if you guys enjoyed the content. You guys have been killing it lately, so I appreciate it. Also, if you guys could do me a big favor, go in the description and follow the Twitch and our X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. All right, so here we are. We're on the Tier Maker website. If you guys have ever seen this website before, they've got a few of them on here where they've got all 134 FBS teams, and you can make it however you want. But I've got it listed in 4 different tiers here. High contenders for our first Dynasty. We've got contenders. This is teams that we're going to use in the future, but they're not going to be our first Dynasty. No chance. Obviously, there's no chance we're ever probably going to use these teams and rebuild them. And then don't care right now. I put this tier here because I feel like there's a lot of teams that I don't really care about right now. But once the season starts, you know there's going to be players that emerge out of nowhere and make it to where we probably will want to use those teams as those players do become relevant. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put all the teams in here that I don't really care about, that I'm not going to use. So I'm not going to make you guys watch that. I'm just going to finish it all up right now. Okay, so. What? Yeah, there's a lot of schools here that I don't really care about right now. I just don't really have interest in using these. So take a look at this screen right here. Hopefully your team is not in here. If it is, that doesn't mean they're completely out. That doesn't mean I'm not going to ever use them. I just need a reason to pick these teams, and none of these teams really get me super excited. So I'm left with 38 schools after all of those schools are eliminated from being the first team that we use. Let me know if I'm making a mistake here. Let me know which one of these colleges has potential, has what I'm looking for is a team that hasn't necessarily shown that they can be great, but they have that potential. They have the pieces on their team to do it. Or I want to have a team that is all the way at the bottom and build them up. I'm looking for a team that has good looking jerseys. That's a big part of it. Stadiums, that's going to help too. A lot of different factors. It's going to make me decide who I want. But now we're going to go to the teams that are no chance. We will not be using these teams probably at any point. We're going to start off with the rival. As I am an Ohio State fan, Michigan is going in no chance. We are not rebuilding this team. There's nothing to rebuild. This is Michigan. They just won a championship. I have no interest in rebuilding that team at all. Let's go with the next one here, as this is a given. Alabama. I can't just rebuild that. I know Nick Saban just left, and that would be a cool little series to become the coach that I guess saves Alabama after Saban left, but I don't think they're still going to be great every single year, no matter who comes in as the coach. You can kind of see where this is going. Georgia, also a team that's not going to be in there. LSU, we're not doing that. I think that's pretty much all of them as far as teams that I just don't want to rebuild at all. Let's just get this out of the way. As you guys know, I am an Ohio State fan. So Ohio State, they're still here, right? They're one of the best schools in the nation every single year. So it's not going to be hard to rebuild this team at all. But it's Ohio State. This is my team. I have to use them at some point, but they're not going to be my first team, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in contenders. We will do a season with Ohio State at some point. And there is kind of a little bit of a rebuild right here. There's a quarterback coming in that came from Kansas State, and in my opinion is not going to be that great at all. I think he may be pretty close to Kyle McCord, who's now at Syracuse. I think Ohio State definitely has all the weapons except quarterback. I don't think we really have an elite quarterback right now, or else, unless he proves me wrong, which can definitely happen in college football for sure. Speaking of Kyle McCord, we're going to go with a contender right here. They're borderline high contenders right here, and that is where Kyle McCord went, and that is Syracuse University. I'm going to put them at contenders. They've got a former Big Ten Ohio State quarterback that just went to a much easier conference, in my opinion. I think Kyle McCord's going to have a pretty decent year this year, as long as everyone else around them can perform. But that would be cool to build the team around Kyle McCord and make them a little bit better. But I want to go with our first high contender. First high contender. Very first year being in the FBS in college football. You see them down here at the bottom. I had to import them into this because they weren't even in here to begin with, and that's Kennesaw State. This is going to be a high contender team. The reason why is because they are going to be at the bottom of the barrel as far as overall. This is going to be a team that's probably in the 60s for overall. They're going to be a half a star to 1-star team. It's going to be really hard to recruit. It's going to be really hard overall to make this team great. But that's the fun of this game. This is the reason why we play Dynasty. So Kennesaw State's going to be our first high contender team. And with that being said, speaking of newer teams in the FBS, these are teams right here that are, I think they're either in their first or second year in the FBS. I don't know what this college is right here. I have no idea. So please let me know. I don't know if it's Delaware. I have no idea. So let me know down in the comments. But this is one of their first years in the FBS. Definitely going to be, I'm going to be rebuilding all the newer FBS teams and see how far I can get with them. I think the other team here is Sam Houston or something like that. They kind of look like Clemson. I like the orange color. Looks cool. Their jerseys kind of look like Clemson too. But they're going to be contenders for now. They won't be our first. Now, you're also going to notice a bit of a common denominator here with these teams that are left. I am from Ohio. I have been to most of these schools, and I want to rebuild all of these schools at some point, as most of these teams are pretty close to the bottom of the barrel. And that is pretty much every team that's in Ohio. Of course, you got Ohio State and contenders. Akron. This was a very common team used in NCAA 14 as they were really bad. Kent State, that's one of their rivals. They're pretty much just as bad as Akron. It would be pretty fun to rebuild them. Stepping it up a little bit, teams that I think are a little bit better. Toledo, the Toledo Rockets, I don't know what it is, but in NCAA 14, 13, I think 12 too, these teams were decent. There was like a couple good players. Like I remember NCAA 14, Toledo had a pretty good quarterback. Everything else was pretty bad. I enjoy those types of teams that have like one or two good players because you can build around them. But Toledo's going to go up there. They also have really, really good looking uniforms. I don't know if that goes into how you guys are going to choose your teams. But Ohio University, obviously, we're going to build them at some point. Miami of Ohio. A lot of these guys are in the same conference. Bowling Green, this is a big one. They kind of remind me of the Cleveland Browns. I'm a Browns fan as well. They'll be contenders. For sure, I think I got all of the Ohio teams out of there. Yeah, we got them all. Let's have a little fun here. Let's get another high. I missed an Ohio team. Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bearcats. I cannot miss that. This is a team since 2014 has had a few pretty good years. A couple teams that could have been championship teams when the Kelsey brothers were there. Well, that'd be cool to get them back on the radar. All right, we're down to 22 more teams. Let's get a couple high contenders in there, okay? I'm not going to just single out one team here. I'm going to narrow it down to just a few. So let's go with another high contender here. And that is going to be Appalachian State, however you say it. I don't know. The Mountaineers. Got to look at this team in the trailer. It was, I can't remember his last name, but he was number 2. He was returning a kick. Their jerseys look really cool. I'm a big fan of the black jerseys. That just looks nasty to me. So the Mountaineers, they're going to be a high contender here. This is a team that joined the FBS not too long ago, and it's also another team that has they've had a few pretty big upsets in the past. When they upset this team right here, Michigan, we all remember that. One of the biggest upsets in college football history. And I would love to be the coach that comes there and just changes that and makes this an elite team. So Appalachian State and Kennesaw State so far are the two teams that we have in the high contenders that we're going to choose for our first dynasty. All right, next we're going to go back to the contenders section here. We're going to get a few teams out of the way right here. And this is going to be every single military team. So Navy, we got Air Force, and we've got Army. I think that's all of them. We got them all. One of the big reasons I want to use these teams is because you never really see these teams in the top 25. Like ever. Honestly, in my lifetime, I've never seen any of these guys in the top 25. And I just think that would be cool to get these guys on the map. You know, get some people out there to serve our country and absolutely dominate on the football field. What players can say they've done that? Finished top 25, won a national championship, and served for their country. That's what I need in life. Also, I want to try out all 3 of these teams' playbooks. All of these military teams have special trick play, different types of playbooks, and they're very option heavy. And from what we've heard from the people that have played the game already is that the option heavy playbooks are going to be pretty OP. So I feel like these playbooks, one of them anyways, are going to be really good. And also another team that I'm going to throw out there simply because of the playbook. I remember in NCAA 14 and the older NCAA games, Georgia Tech had an interesting playbook like that too. And I don't know if they still have that same kind of concept, but I'm going to throw them in there anyways. I don't know why I have Oregon State in here, so I'm going to put them in don't care. I must have mistaken them for OSU, Oklahoma State University. These guys have one of the best running backs in the nation right here. We got a glimpse of him in the last deep dive. This is a huge body, Ollie Gordon II. The guy looked like an absolute monster in the trailer, and I want to definitely build a team around this guy for sure. I want to say this is like his junior year or something like that, so you'll get a solid 2 years out of this guy. So we'll put him in contender. Couple more teams right here I'm going to knock out. Notre Dame, I don't know why they're still in here. I'm going to throw them in. I don't care. Texas, I'm going to go with Texas right here. Texas, the reason why I want to choose this team is because I feel like they have the quarterback that got away from us. Us as in Ohio State. We had Quinn Ewers at Ohio State. He originally committed there and then he transferred to Texas. And now he's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. I hate to see that, but you can't hate the man. We didn't play him enough. We didn't treat him right. And now he's at Texas. I think this is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the game. So I definitely want to use that. Let's knock out 2 more contenders right here. I currently live in Arizona right now. So I probably will use Arizona and especially Arizona State. I like ASU. I've been to an ASU game. We've seen the atmosphere. I think it would be cool to take over that school. I like their jerseys too. I like their team colors. ASU and Arizona. All right, let's move on. We're down to a few more here. Oregon. That is simply just because of their jerseys. I hope that they put so many different jerseys that we've seen from Oregon in the past. Would definitely love to use that team. Penn State, that's simply because of Mo Bamba. I'll just leave that there. Vanderbilt, the reason why I probably will use this team in the future is because they are in the SEC and they have been a team that's always at the bottom of SEC for a very, very long time. And I think it'd be nice to change things up a little bit and try to put them on top. The Charlotte 49ers, strong contender. I'm actually going to put them towards the top as they're pretty borderline of a high contender right here. This is a newer FBS school, I believe. We'll be seeing them. Few more right here. We're down to Boise State, Colorado, Florida, Florida State, Iowa, JMU, and the Miami U. We'll start with the Miami U right here. The U. There's just so much tradition and so much history behind this school right here. You just have the urge to try to bring back the old days of Miami U. This used to be such a feared team to play against in college football, and that would just be cool to bring all that back. I'm looking at these teams, and I honestly don't know why I have Florida in here. I'm putting Florida at don't care. Okay, so we're down to 5 right here. Next one I'm going to choose is Boise State. And you guys know why I'm picking this team. Boise State, because they have the blue field. I'm sure we'll be able to change the colors of our field in the team builder mode. But Boise State, they're the OGs. And they have some pretty cool looking jerseys too. We're down to 4. I'm going to put a high contender in here. And that is going to be James Madison University. This is a newer FBS school. This is a team that a lot of people have been using in college football revamped. It's going to be another one of those teams that are probably going to be in the 60s as far as their overall. As far as how bad the teams are, I think Kennesaw State will be the worst. James Madison will be second to worst, and then Appalachian State will be third. Actually, I take that back. It'll be the 2 other schools down here that are newer schools, and then Appalachian State. James Madison, I love their logo right here. They've got it's like a bulldog with a crown on or something like that. They have really cool looking jerseys, the gold and purple duo. I love how that looks. But JMU's, they're going to be a strong contender right here. I actually would probably put them in front of Appalachian State right here. So that's actually in order right here, how I'm feeling about my first dynasty. Kennesaw State, James Madison, Appalachian State. But there's 3 more in here. 2 more I'm going to put in contenders and 1 more that I'm going to put in high contenders. The first one we're going to do is Florida State University. They're going to be contenders here. The reason why I want to reuse this team is because I feel like they really got hoed in the previous college football playoff. I feel that they should have been in the college football playoff. I don't care how many people were hurt. They should have been in there. Alabama shouldn't have. I want the redemption story to Florida State to come back and just absolutely obliterate everybody and win a national championship. We're down to 2 more, and that's Iowa and Colorado University. The first one we're going to do here is Iowa. Iowa is going to go in contenders. The reason why we're going contenders because Iowa, I feel like for a very, very long time has been a really defensive heavy football team, and their offense just hasn't been good at all. And we've seen it in the overalls. Their overall on offense is like a 71, and then their defense is like a 92. It's actually super accurate. It's crazy that they did that. That just shows the level of detail that this game is going to have. Iowa, I want to be the guy that brings a good offense to this team. They haven't had a good offense in a very, very long time. I think the last time I remember Iowa being good on offense is when they had a man named Drew Tate, I think his name was. I think it was like 2007, 2006 or something like that when he was in there. And he was actually in the Heisman race. He was a really good quarterback. And I'd love to bring that back to Iowa. Our last one right here is Colorado University. And they're going to go in high contenders. And I'm going to move them. I'm going to move them to number 2. Now, I'll explain why I really want to rebuild this team. The reason why is because I feel like they have some of the best weapons in the game. They have one of the best quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders. They have the best wide receiver in the game, Travis Hunter. And he's also going to be playing corner too. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. I don't know if his overalls are going to be different. That should be how it works. He shouldn't be a 99 at wide receiver and 99 corner because I think he's a lot better at wide receiver than he is at corner. Not by far. I still think he's going to be in the high 90s. As a corner. But we take a look at last season. Colorado did not perform very well at all. I don't remember their exact record, but they were not good. They just weren't. But I feel like I said before, this team has the weapons. Definitely has the weapons. Just a few holes they got to fill on defense. I think their offensive line needs a lot of help too. So I think that'd be a really, really fun one to rebuild. I'm pretty much teetering between these two teams for our first dynasty, Kennesaw State and Colorado University. James Madison and Appalachian State, they're definitely going to be strong contenders as well. So I've narrowed it down out of 134 teams to 4 teams that we're going to be possibly using as our first dynasty. So let me know down in the comments down below which one of these teams should become high contenders. Out of which one of these teams in high contenders should I use? What do you guys want to see? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, throw a like and subscribe to the channel. Boys, that's going to be it for me. We're getting closer. 24 more days. It seems like it's dragging on. Don't worry, boys. We'll get there. But until then, we're making videos like this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out of here. Peace.